This is the Charity Stripe on the Mightier 1090 ESPN Radio.
And now, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. We are live on the Charity Stripe podcast with your hosts, Alex, Josh, and Nick.
All right, we're back once again. It's the Charity Stripe. We got a special guest on the show. It's the baseball off season, but baseball never stops, especially for us fans on 1090 the ESPN, the Mightier. We love baseball. Can't get enough of it. We got Kyle Muller joining the boys. Brave system. Got some great run in the big leagues last year. We're hoping for a big season out of him. And not just because he's on our show right now, but because at one point he was a Texas Longhorn, and once a Longhorn, always a Longhorn. So Kyle, welcome to the show, man. Happy to have you, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. You spent some good time with the Braves. Obviously, you're in the system. Crazy turn of events. This was a team, a lot of us, to be quite frank, once Acuna goes down, we're all like, all right, they're left for dead. I'm
Right.
saying, pull the plug. I'm a Sox fan. I know I have a Braves hat on now, but my true colors are Boston fan. And I'm like, all right, we're going to get Freddie Freeman. Like, he's a free agent. Like these are the moves that are going to be made at the deadline. What was something that maybe you saw when you were up there this summer in the locker room that many of us didn't see when the cameras weren't on, that showed you that this was a team that can not only contend, but ultimately win the World Series?
Well, we've known it for a bunch of years, just the depth we've had in the system. And last year was, I think, the perfect time for all of that to kind of show. Because in my draft, we had me, Ian Anderson, Tucker Davidson, and then the year before it was Austin Riley, Soroka. They got Tukey from that draft. So a lot of the younger guys were, making their appearances in the big leagues and helping the team. And so we knew that, once, some guys went down, like we had the depth to just keep rolling. It was just kind of next guy up. And I think with the opportunities given to everybody, they made the most of them. And then once you make some big trade moves to get like a whole new outfield, and they came in hot too. So I mean, it was like the perfect storm.
It's the craziest thing. I mean, first of all, you have Soler, who literally hits the ball to another planet. You have Rosario, who they're just going to build statues from the sand to the stadium in Atlanta. in Atlanta.
One of the clutchest players I've ever seen.
It's crazy. And then Duvall, who Adam Duvall just across. I mean, I know you're probably a diehard baseball fan like the rest of us. Our whole lives, I feel like Adam Duvall has never got the respect he deserves. Is that a fair statement?
100%. He's incredibly underrated. I mean, he was an all-star. He was in the home run derby back in San Diego.
Yeah.
He wasn't with San Diego, but I think that was with Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Giancarlo won it that year when he just went off.
Yeah. And I'm like, he always hits. He was the RBI leader all year this year. And we didn't sign him back after last year. And then we ended up trading for him. In the middle of the season after he was just he was tearing us up too the first half.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have him back on our team. But dude, awesome guy, great clubhouse guy, and just goes about his business and crushes baseballs.
Yeah, no, he's demolished them, and it's crazy. He was leading the league in RBIs, and actually, I don't mind saying this because we do. Just so you know, one of our rivals is the Miami Marlins. Our show in the Marlins.
Okay.
So we've gotten into Twitter battles with them, and like he was doing this on the Marlins, and I know they're a team that's on the up, but like they're on the lower part of the up. So the fact that he was putting in that work and getting in those numbers is crazy, and just the ultimate clutch factor. I want to talk though. I mean, you're 24. You pitched well when you were up in the bigs, and a guy like Austin Riley, who is another player. He had a couple seasons, didn't go exactly how people thought they would go, and then we kind of wrote him off, and then this year he just explodes. Can you talk about the maturation period, but also how important it is to kind of give guys time and let them season and get used to the whole show?
For sure. I mean, I know when Austin got called up, he was unbelievable. He was like the best player in the National League for like a month or two. And then, once you get the scouting reports on guys that, these veteran players kind of start to figure it out. But there's a huge learning curve, and, maybe not physically, but it's more of a mental learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing how people are going to approach you. Like, yeah, you can do really, really well the first time you see everybody, but then when you see them again, they've got your scouting report now. So you got to learn how to like deal with all that. And at the same time, you're playing in front of 40,000 people, you're playing on TV. So like, there's a lot of like other things, you know, that you don't really think about. Like you got fans that, you know, you have a bad game, it's like the end of the world. And, you know, you have a good game, you're the greatest player ever. So the highs and lows of that and learning how to navigate that, I think especially for me was the biggest learning point this past year. And I mean, in terms of the maturation period, I mean, physically, a lot of people in the minor leagues could pitch or hit in the big leagues right now. It's just being able to ride those highs and lows and stay consistent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we see it like with a guy like Ohtani, right? Who kind of struggled the first time he came to the bigs. I mean, he was still hitting the cover off the ball, but then he comes back and wins the MVP and
right.
is just doing ridiculous things that no one's ever seen before.
Right. And I'm sure a lot of that was, I mean, it was different playing in America. You're everyone's eyes are on you. So I'm sure he added a lot of pressure to himself. And then once you realize he was unbelievable at pitching and hitting, he just let his talent show. And then now he's the MVP.
Yeah.
That'll be tough. If he gets considered, you know, for pitching and hitting for the rest of his career, it'll be tough for anybody else to win.
No.
It's like, first of all, I mean, I can't imagine the pressure. I mean, you're a second round pick, pressure. Guys who are first round picks, there's money attached to it. It's not like, you know, and you're out of high school too. Like you skipped him. We'll get into that, but like you jumped right to the bigs. So there's a lot of pressure there. And for Ohtani, it's, you bring it up. He's coming to America. So he's not pitching in Japan anymore. He doesn't speak the language. And people are like, oh yeah, by the way, you're the next Babe Ruth. It's not even like you're the next, like, you know,
the
like,
expectations are all the way up here.
Yeah. You're not
and
like,
somehow
no,
he exceeded those expectations, which is just unbelievable.
Crazy. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, those kind of comparisons that they make, you know, like saying Otani's kind of like the Babe Ruth, you kind of only see that kind of stuff in basketball, right? Where they're telling guys like, oh, this is the next LeBron, this is the next MJ, right? And of course, you got Bronny Jr., who's going to come up, and there's going to be a tremendous amount of expectations for him. So, but in baseball, I mean, I feel like there's just so many guys that it's kind of hard to compare someone to Babe Ruth or Mickey Mantle or Ken Griffey Jr., right? You got to, like, the proof is in the pudding. You got to show yourself first. And the fact that Ohtani was able to do that in the first 2 seasons of his career is absurd.
Unbelievable. Yeah, no, absolutely incredible.
And you know that if, you know, he wins an MVP, if he keeps pitching for the next 3 years, by the time we get to like year 3, everyone's doing what they did to LeBron in basketball, where it's like, we can't continue to give this guy the MVP. We got to give it to other people. And it's like, no, the feat is still the same feat. Like, don't undervalue it just because we've seen it before. We've literally only seen it one other time where it was to this caliber. So give him the due credit that he deserves.
Right. 100%. 100%.
Did you ever?
I think Mike Trout's kind of the same way.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
He's year in, year out, just unbelievable. And it's like, you can't just give it to him all the time. But what were you saying?
I was saying you hit in high school. I mean, you're the Gator. I mean, yeah, which is an understatement. You're the Gatorade Player of the Year, which is pretty nuts. But you played both sides of the plate. Was that ever an option for you to try to pursue both sides? Maybe if you're going to Texas.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I committed there, for sure. That was a big, you know, deciding factor. And I felt like I had the best opportunity to play, you know, outfield and pitch. Which is funny because my 2017 season in pro ball was just terrible. I mean, it was absolutely abysmal. And so if I pitched like that at Texas, I probably would just be an outfielder right now.
Wow, that's
because there's no way they would have put me on the mound.
Why do you think that happened then? And like, you go from like not having a great 2017 to being in the bigs in 2021. Like, how do you get from point A to point B, so to speak?
A lot of it is you just kind of finding out your routines, like what works for you. And for me, after that 2016 season, like I had my high school year, and then I had that little GCL like short season stint.
Yeah.
But I had to, like, that was my first off season, so I didn't really know how to like program anything. I didn't know how to ramp up to get ready for spring training because everything was so new. And so I was trying to fix everything at the same time. And then it honestly made everything worse. And so I wasn't really practicing throwing hard. My mechanics were all messed up. So I show up and it was just like terrible. Like, it was not good. And so then went to extended spring training, all that. And then going into 2018, I went to like Driveline, I'm sure y'all baseball fans, y'all probably seen some of
For
the
sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just learning how to like be athletic and be explosive and get in good positions. But without like thinking about where your hand is. It was just like you would do the drills and your body would just do it itself. And that unlocked like a huge, part of that was like the turning point, I'd say, in my career. Because if I didn't do that, I don't know where I'd be right
Yeah.
now.
I mean, I think we've come so far just in terms of technology and just like baseball analytics and all of the tools that guys have as resources to better their game. Can you talk a little bit about, what that transition's like from being a high schooler to getting basically all of these resources, kind of thrown at you early on in your career?
So it was interesting because I was kind of in pro ball as those things were coming out, because my senior year of high school, we didn't have anything like that. We didn't use slow motion cameras, or Rapsodos weren't a thing. And then I was probably like a year into pro ball, 2 years or something. I figured out what a Rapsodo was, and started kind of dabbling with that stuff, because it's one of those things like you kind of adapt or die. Like, it's so mainstream now that if you don't know the information, you're behind. And I'm not a pitch design expert, so I'm not going to be able to like make everybody's pitches better, but I understand what I need to be doing. And those numbers help you. Like if you throw a bullpen, you're like, okay, my vertical break was down 3 inches. Like I need to stay through the ball better, and it'll ride more. That'll miss a bat, versus getting foul balls or getting fly balls.
That
It's
is
like crazy.
nuts.
It's crazy
That
stuff.
is so nuts.
And you almost like wonder, like, what do guys like Nolan Ryan or like Roger Clemens,
That's
who
what I
didn't
was
make the Hall of
thinking,
Fame,
dude.
like Granny Johnson, those guys who didn't have those resources, like, would it make them better, or would that overcomplicate their game?
That's a tough question to answer. I mean, I think it would. I think it might make them better, but at the same time, knowing that, like, they just have stuff and there was nothing else to think about. Like, you're not throwing a bullpen thinking about where your spin axis is. It's like, that came out of my hand good. Like, that's all I need to know. So you're worrying about a lot less.
Right.
But I definitely think it shortens the learning curve if you're trying to learn a new pitch. So if you want to have a good curveball, like, okay, I need to get my finger more in front of it, and you can like visually see it. That'll turn that year of learning a curveball to 2 months.
Definitely. Well, yeah, you've definitely come a long way since low ball. You're definitely considered a rookie this next season, right? Still.
Yep, still.
So, what are your goals and aspirations for this coming season?
A lot of the goals I have are kind of things that I want to make goals. Like, obviously I want to win Rookie of the Year, but that's not in my control. I can just control how well I play.
Right.
But just get more consistent. Deal with the mental side of the game a little bit better. That was kind of the biggest shock to me last year. Like, physically, I know I can compete up there and get people out. But dealing with that part of it, and just I guess the knock on me is that my control isn't very good. So I mean, I've got I just prove all those people that think I can't throw the ball over the plate wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just is really crazy how we're thinking about where the game's gone, and now heading into your rookie year, all this. And what are the conversations you're having with maybe guys like Soroka and Anderson, who have been up there a little longer, to help you get adjusted?
It was talking to Ian. He's been good because like we've been friends before, so I could ask him all the small questions about, like, hey, on travel trips, what am I supposed to do? Like, where am I supposed to be? Because you don't want to step on anybody's toes. So you're kind of like looking out for everybody. But like little things like that. But in terms of pitching, I was doing the same thing I was doing in the minor leagues. I'm trying to throw the ball right down the middle. I'm not trying to pinch corners. I'm just trying to stuff people and then beat them on movement. I'm not trying to overcomplicate anything. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's honestly, I don't want to say it's easier to pitch, but it might be a little bit, just because the hitters are so advanced that their approach, like they're spitting on, 0-0 curveballs. Whereas you throw in low A or double A, like, kids will swing at those. So, that's a free strike. because their
Yeah.
approach is so so
It's a little more
refined. Or
predictable.
they'll take a fastball right down the middle with 2 strikes because they were looking off speed, and they're like, I'll get them next time. They're sticking to their approach and looking for that one
Right.
pitch.
Yeah. I think as fans who don't really understand the game that much, sometimes they'll look at a guy who just takes one right down the pipe, and they're like, "Why don't you swing at that?" And they're just not
Right.
guessing. I mean, they're guessing something else, and they're not.
You honestly have to, because everybody
Exactly.
throws 100 right now.
Exactly.
With just nasty breaking stuff. So you can't try and hit everything. You gotta pick a pitch and wait for a mistake, and then that's why they're so good, is that they'll hit those mistakes.
It's crazy, like how much of a student of the game you have to be. Like back in the day, Mickey Mantle rolls up to the ballpark smoking a cig, slug of whiskey in the 7th inning, and now you're sitting here and like you really have to know what guys throw. And like you watch. I really learned it from Mookie Betts, like just watching him every inning of every game so close, like a hawk. I mean, if it was up to him, he'd still be doing his batting gloves in the first pitch. Like he's taking it all the time. And certain guys that just really stick to their approach and get in their rhythm. It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, that's part of the thing is, a routine makes you comfortable. So keeping that same routine, it keeps you in a good headspace and it keeps you consistent. And I guess the superstitions about like the batting glove stuff and all that is more intense in baseball. But it's crazy how much information we have and like how much of it you can use, but it can also hurt you at the same time. Like analysis or paralysis by analysis. If you look at it too much, you're not gonna. It's gonna be overwhelming.
I almost feel like the cross sport comparison for an at bat is basically like in basketball going to the free throw line every single time. Like where there's so many different, like a lot of it's just your mechanics have to be right, but your mind has to be right too. And a lot of times,
right.
the guy dealing with his gloves or, he deals with his elbow pad, whatever it is, it's helping him get the mental focus there. And
right.
I mean, we've seen great shooters in basketball be terrible free throw shooters. Right. And guys that are great hitters have massive slumps where, 30 games go by and they can't hit anything. Something that I've been curious about is just the distinction in the locker room between guys like you who, forego college, go straight to the pros versus guys who go into college. And I think this is something probably like, curiosity around plate discipline and hitters and what they see as soon as they come out of high school, as opposed to, going in college, going to a big school like Texas, guy like Dansby going to Vanderbilt. Once you get to the bigs, are there conversations that guys have where the two types of players become distinctive, or is it once you get into that MLB dugout, like it's the same and you forget about that?
I'd say it's pretty much the same. You don't really know anybody's background, where anybody's from. I mean, obviously, like like if they're your friends, where they're from. But like in terms of advanced level of either hitting in college or hitting in high school, you learn those things that you'd learn in college in pro ball. I would honestly say you maybe learn a little bit more. It might be a little bit more refined approach, because like in a weird way, once you get drafted, until you get to the big leagues, it's about development. It's not necessarily about winning. So if you got a guy on second with nobody out, you're not going to bunt him over in pro ball. You're going to try and hit something over the fence or in the gap and get an RBI because that looks better for you.
Right.
It's a little bit more selfish, but then once you get to the big leagues, like winning's all that matters, which is more similar to what it is in college.
Yeah, it's all about getting that natty in college.
But
going to Omaha.
Right.
There could be like the counterpoint where it's like you go into Texas, Gatorade Player of the Year, you are kind of going in there to be the guy a little bit, right? Like you're going in there to make an immediate impact, where as opposed to you working on yourself as an individual, not focusing on winning and kind of changing the mindset. I think it's why it's such an interesting decision, and every guy has their own journey to the league, and obviously there's a million different ways to get there, but it's pretty fascinating.
Were you kind of half and half on making your decision, or was it like, I'm getting drafted, I'm going?
To be completely honest, that was playing professional baseball was always my dream. So like if I could do that at 18, that was going to be my decision. I mean, there were other factors, going into it. Like obviously, like where I got drafted, I was fortunate enough to have a pretty easy decision. but it's definitely tough. And then for me, like I was talking about from a development standpoint, I figured that I would get better development playing professional baseball, than going to school, because I knew that going into it. Like I was just saying, like once you get drafted, you kind of play. It's weird. You play for the name on the back of your jersey, not the front. And it sounds bad, because baseball is obviously a team sport, but that was kind of my focus. I was like, my dream's to be a major league pitcher, not necessarily to win a college national championship.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that was the easiest or the most direct route to achieving that goal was going to play pro ball. So I mean, that was my inclination, pretty much the whole time.
It's bizarre. It's crazy because in college football and college basketball, I mean, now they're changing it around a little bit and there's a lot of loopholes, but college football, you have to go. You have to play like 3 years. You don't have a choice.
Well, yeah. Now it's awesome. You get paid for it.
Yeah.
You can transfer whenever you want. It's
yeah.
West out there.
It's a free for all. We talk about it on we have a Texas show. It's like no holds barred. It's like, where can I get the most money? Who's going to pay me to have a mullet type deal?
You can argue that guys in college football, at least in college basketball, have it better than minor league baseball players.
100%. And then you think about it, once football players and basketball players get drafted, they go straight to the league.
So that's what I was getting at.
So like that's and that even still with baseball, you go to college for a couple of years. I mean, there's a few rare cases where you go straight to the big leagues. I think Brandon Finnegan, he pitched in like the College World Series and then the World Series.
Royals,
the same year.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So like there's some things like that happen, but I mean that's incredibly rare. You can't bank on that. But and so even still, you go to college, then you're in pro ball for a couple of years. Say you can't figure it out, you have a bad season, you go into pro ball a little bit older, so like they have this big like age thing, they baseball years, you're old when you're actually still young.
Yeah.
And it's because of the analytics, so like for me, I was like, I have the more time to figure it out. I'm gonna take that route.
Right. Well, the good thing is, I mean, you're 24, which in our eyes is old or young. Sorry, but then you look at a guy like deGrom, right, who comes up later, 26, 27 years old, and now he's one of the most dominant pitchers we've ever seen.
Yeah, he's the best pitcher I've ever seen. And
100%.
David Ortiz gets into the Hall of Fame. I mean, he didn't get to Boston until he was 27. He was in Minnesota, and people forget about that. The Hall of Fame is crazy. Nick, I'll let you take this one because you have a lot of crazy viewpoints on the Hall of Fame, and we'd love to get your takes on it, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to ask other baseball fans, players, anyone involved in the game, what their opinions are on what just happened in the Hall of Fame. I mean, we're leaving off two of the greatest baseball players of all time.
The best baseball player of all time.
Exactly. So I could already tell how you feel about this, but I mean, it sucks that old writers kind of control the destiny of these players that, unfortunately made mistakes, but if they're going to tie steroids into Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, you got to do the same thing for David Ortiz, who they just voted in.
Right. And that, I mean, it'd be different if it was like, what was the case? It was like 2003 when they came out and was like, no more steroids. That's when they started testing or whatever. But anything before that's fair game. There was no rule against it. I mean, federally, I think steroids were illegal, but like baseball had never declared that you can't take steroids. And like, I saw something that was like the Hall of Fame is something that celebrates the entire game of baseball from its, beginning to where it is now. And like, you're telling me you're going to leave out a 7-time MVP winner?
Not even all-star, 7-time MVP.
MVP, a 7-time all-star probably will get in, but a 7-time MVP, it's baffling to me. And then Roger Clemens won 7 Cy Youngs. Is that what it was? It was something ridiculous. Stupid. It's like, yeah, they took steroids, but that's what everybody did at the time. And there's probably a significant amount of players already in the Hall of Fame that took steroids as well.
Right.
So
I mean, you got guys like Baines and Pudge, who, a lot of people have suspicions. They just never were. It was never found out to be completely true. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And Barry never tested positive either.
That's what I'm saying. But so if everybody, if the Hall of Fame was squeaky clean, like everybody knew that, then I understand it. But since it's already kind of tainted in ways like that, like
Well,
that just, and you shouldn't even put an asterisk by it. It shouldn't be like, oh, steroid era. That was just a part of baseball. You're
yeah,
celebrating baseball's history and baseball's best players. And if
100%.
everybody else took steroids at the same time Barry Bonds did, he's still better than everybody else.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's kind of also like, this is just like a cross-sport comparison, but like you look at the NCAA that has given sanctions to players. They stripped Reggie Bush of a Heisman, and now they're paying players millions of dollars, and they still won't give him his Heisman. It's like,
that is the dumbest thing. They have O.J. Simpson's jersey retired at the Coliseum, who didn't kill somebody, I guess. And then you got Reggie Bush, who can't get his jersey, get number 5 retired. Best college football player, maybe of at least the 4 of our lifetimes. And then
it's so corrupt, it's ridiculous.
I'm converted, by the way. I don't know if this is like a whole new year for me where like I'm now a vegetarian, but Nick and I, we've been doing this podcast for God knows how long. And Nick and I have been on opposite ends of the spectrum always. I used to be an anti-steroid guy, get in. And I don't know if this is like Poppy getting in or whatnot, but I flipped the script.
Well, a lot of it, sorry to cut you off, but a lot of it is just like, I hate the fact that it stems from these writers, and some of these guys just throw away their ballots. Like there's a guy for 10 straight years, like who literally just throws Jeff Kent on his only vote. And there's other players who are better than Jeff Kent.
His right to vote should be taken away.
Exactly. There's another guy who hasn't voted in like 5 years. He just sends an empty ballot. It's ridiculous.
Like what have those guys done?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to sound harsh or mean or anything, but it's like, I think other players should be, or Hall of Fame players should be voting on who else is in the Hall of Fame because they played against him. You know, Greg Maddux is one of the best pitchers ever to live. And he was talking about pitching to Barry Bonds, and he's like, you just don't pitch to him. You know?
The man got intentionally walked with the bases loaded. Like
that's what I'm saying. And these are the other best players in the world. And so like, those are the people like that's the baddest man on the planet. You're not even going to pitch to him and let him walk in a run. Like, it's a joke.
Look, here we are, like animated talking about it because we care, right? And you're just gonna throw away your vote. Like, how is there not a system in place where if you don't vote, you're out?
Oh yeah.
Put someone else in who actually cares about the sport and 100%. Wants to do it justice. Yeah.
Right.
You know, Kenny Lofted also got shafted when he was on the ballot his first time, because there's like this weird threshold where you have to like have a certain percentage of votes on your first time on the ballot or you're canned, right? Mm-hmm. And his first time on the ballot was with Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, and they happened to get more votes than him. They took away votes, and Kenny Lofton's left off the ballot now, who, you know, maybe he gets in if he gets a couple more cracks at it, but it's a really flawed system. But on this podcast and just like in general, we have discussions all the time about how baseball can change, how it can grow, how it can get to younger audiences. I mean, I feel like
job of that.
Exactly. I mean, out of all the leagues, it is by far the farthest behind. What do you think are some ways to kind of make the league more fun, more appealing to audiences, maybe swag it up? I don't know. Do you have any perspective on that?
So they tried, and I don't want to just, be on here talking trash about all the systems.
No, we love it, dude. This is like we were passionate about it. I'm passionate about Manny being in the Hall of Fame now. Like, we're passionate about the sport more than anything. Like, we'll watch every game. It's like, tooth and nail. So it comes in good heart.
In terms of making the league more fun, they tried that, with the whole bat flip thing. Like, they were like, yeah, show your emotion. Like when Tim Anderson threw his bat, like MLB posted it. They were like, oh, this is so cool. And then they fined him. You know what I mean? It's like, let's pick one or the other. You can't have both. Mm-hmm. And then, it's just like, whenever people do show emotion, like I saw, I think it was Nick Castellanos. He slid.
Oh yeah.
And like squared, like, that's a badass play. Like, what, I mean, I can understand, like, he got in the guy's face a little bit, but like, that people are playing this game for their livelihood. Like, obviously it's exciting. Like, it's not bad to show emotion, and like trying to wipe emotion out of the game, that needs to change. And we're in this weird like phase of like people from, back in the day who were like all about, class, and it's almost like it's a gentleman's game. Yeah. Like the unwritten rules and stuff. And then you got the new wave of people who are trying to like show emotion, have flash, and those are the exciting players like Acuna, Tatis, like all of those guys. That's exciting. That's what people want to see. But then you find them when they show their emotions.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with that. But then another thing is like media wise, I think MLB has like a monopoly on all of the media. So like when LeBron James dunks a basketball, you see that on every Twitter account, Instagram account, everywhere. Everyone can post it. But then, Mike Trout hits a 500-foot home run, you only see that on MLB sponsored accounts. So that's slowing the growth of the game because now people will get copyrighted if they post their video that's not theirs. Like I know Pitching Ninja?
Oh yeah.
A couple years ago, or maybe I don't know when it was, but like his account got suspended because he was posting those like little gifs. I don't know. Everybody says something different.
It's
I'm
gyro,
I'm a gift
gyro, gyro, hero. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
We got you.
So, but he was posting all those, and MLB like got his account suspended because he didn't have permission to post that content. I'm like, he's spreading the game more than they are, and and you're gonna take him off the internet. What good does that do?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, there's high school basketballers who have over 1 million followers on Instagram and Twitter. Like
Right.
they're bringing people. When they get to college, people are watching. When they go from college to the pros, people are watching. Like more people are watching than before. It's part of the growth structure and it needs to be more implemented. But part of that is you have to open it up to everyone, right? To get everyone talking about baseball, not just the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that's tough though is like basketball, your favorite player plays every night. Baseball, if like you're a pitcher, you pitch every 5 days. So like you can't pump that. And there's so many games too. It's like, oh, I missed that one, I'll get the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and especially football, like football, you got 16 games or what is it, 17 games?
Yeah.
Like that, it's like every weekend there's one game for that team, So I think that's what draws more people to it because it's more of an event rather than it's like oversaturated with the amount of baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not always going to get to see your favorite player play.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he's a position player, which you can, but he doesn't hit every inning.
Right.
He hits 4 times a game. So I can see and there's so many players. You got bullpen guys, you got bench players, and you got 30 teams of 9 guys on the field. It's like there's a lot more than just an 11-man NBA roster.
Yeah.
Because even the 11th man probably has more followers than most of the Major League Baseball players.
Yeah.
Yes.
On social media, but
Scalabrini.
I guess it is what it is.
Growing up, Scalabrini was the 11th man on the Celtics. I mean, we all know and love him.
Everyone knows who he is.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I really think we ended on a high note, and I think it's because of y'all in the way that Rosario homered and Soler homered and Matt, like talk about the bullpen guys, like the way Matt's came in and the energy he showed was like,
Dude's awesome.
I literally have like goosebumps and like, we have a lot of Atlanta friends because there's like a weird, like, the Texas and Atlanta crew are really tight and like at least in our immediate circles. So we just kind of have a good love for the Braves and, the Dogs. And in sports, when it rains, it pours, like, these teams win. But the thing is like the different guy, and that's the beauty of postseason baseball, that the unsung heroes a lot of the times come to life. And the 11th man, quote unquote, on the bench, like in the Lakers, that the beauty of baseball is, in the NBA, Scalabrini's never going to be a hero in the NBA finals. Ever. No. It's not going to happen. Just logistically, like he's not seeing the court in the fourth quarter unless they're down by 50.
Right.
So
where everybody else gets hurt.
Yeah. And so like having a guy like Rosario Soler or like Steven Pierce was like the World Series MVP in 2018. And it's like, what? So like that is the beautiful part of the game. I think the Braves did that exceptionally well this season.
Right. Right. And everybody else was rooting against the Astros too. So that helped.
Yeah. I mean, like,
fun.
yeah, God. Yeah. There is, I hate the Astros. My friend, we have a lot of, obviously, I'm sure you have buddies who are huge Astros fans, just growing up in Dallas. I'm a Sox fan, obviously, like I said, and I bet my buddy a reverse dinner on the Sox Astros playoff matchup, which is like you have to eat go to a nice restaurant when you're with your friends and do cake, steak, salad in that order. So unfortunately, it's a ridiculous bet.
I never heard that before. That's
yeah, it's a good one. We don't do money, but that was like the bet I lost. But I'm glad that the Braves ended up upending them and beating them. We got a couple more for you, brother, before we let you rock and roll. We love doing quick hitters, and then we always ask the same question at the end. So Nick, you want to hit them with some quick hitters?
Yeah, just give me a second to pull that up really
To
quick.
pull him up. We were so in the sauce.
Yeah,
And just talking.
I'm so in it.
Well, Nick, while you're pulling that up, you know, Kyle, you grew up in Dallas. You went to Dallas Jesuit. There's a guy in the bigs right now, Josh Bell, plays for the Nats. Did you get a chance to face him this last year? I couldn't dig it up and figure it out. Nice.
I did. I faced him in Atlanta. I think he grounded out once, and then I walked him the next time. But that was super cool because I remember being a senior and like thinking he was, the coolest person ever. Like I was number 19 because of him in high school, and just for everything to kind of come full circle to play each other in the big leagues, that was really cool. And plus, our high school coaches were there for that game too, so I can only imagine what they felt. Maybe a little old, but
yeah.
But it was
I mean,
really
do you?
cool.
I'm sure like. We're just a little bit older than you, but I remember being probably like maybe like a freshman when he was a senior, and like he was the talk of Dallas. Like they were like, go watch this guy hit home runs out of this ballpark. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video of him hitting a home run in high school at Rangers ballpark?
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, I'm probably half of those views. Because that was back.
Don't let him
when
hear
they
you
had,
hear
like, the BESR bets. They were probably like the BESR bets, the ones that just made the super loud ding.
Yeah.
Crush that ball. I would just watch the swing. Oh, I would keep like replaying it, watching the swing and the swing. It was awesome. So the pitch against him was really cool.
Do you have a relationship with him? Do you guys like keep up or anything?
We not too much. It's kind of one of those things when you see each other, we'll talk.
Nice.
But I'm not sure where he's living. I don't know if he's still in Dallas or if he's in I want to say he might have been in California for a little bit.
Mhm.
But I mean, when I see him, I'll talk to him. But other than that, nothing too crazy.
As long as it's not in Pittsburgh, that's the real win.
Yeah.
Right there. Did you guys, before we get into the quick hitters, Nick, because you played high school basketball, right?
Freshman year.
So would you
gotta pick a sport at Jesuit. They make you pick.
Then you might have
for the most part, right? Yeah.
Kinda.
You might have played then.
I mean, I could have played all three. It's just I kind of figured out that my future was going to be in baseball, so I started putting more focus towards that. If I could have, I would have played all three the whole time. I mean, just like if everything would have turned out the way it did, I would have played all three the whole time, no doubt.
I only asked because I was wondering, Toss, if you played against him.
But to clarify, like I went to, for any of the listeners that don't know, I went to another all boys private school in Dallas. My school, a lot of like the selling point, because I went to a different middle school and I was between Jesuit and my school, St. Mark's. And one of the big selling points for St. Mark's was you get to play all three seasons of sports. And in Jesuit, you kind of have to pick a sport. But if you're good enough, this is Josh, for you and Nick, if you're good enough, like Kyle is alluding to the fact that you can play multiple sports. So if anyone wants to know what kind of athlete Kyle is, he's a fantastic athlete.
We had a guy, Jeff Schottmer. He played all.
Yeah,
he was really
North Carolina. Didn't he play football there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, he did all 4 years, and I was great at all of them. So
yeah,
it's a grind though.
Did he play with Trubisky? He might have.
I think so. It was either the very end of his time there, or I don't know. I think they did play together though.
Yeah,
that's
if I
crazy.
put money on it, I'd probably say yes.
Texas sports, baby. In New York, I'm from New York, just so you know, Kyle. And for any listeners that don't know this, our high school had we won states my junior year. Our high school team.
Oh, nice.
I was in the stands. Don't get it twisted. And but our starting third baseman finished. We also had a great performing arts high school. Our starting third baseman finished 12th in American Idol. How nuts is that?
Really?
Yeah, he didn't go.
That's
play.
actually very impressive.
Yeah, it's super impressive. It's kind of wild.
Was he singing? I'm guessing.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good singer. He's really good at piano too. So,
that's a lethal combo.
Yeah, third base.
The corner, the pipes, and the keys.
Yeah.
All right, quick hitters. Let's get after it. Okay, so let's start with maybe the toughest guy you faced so far in your career throughout the pros and minors.
I'm gonna go with Joey Votto.
That's a good one.
Left on left. I got him. So the first time I pitched against him, I got him. I punched him out twice, but then the next time I tried to do the same thing I did the first time, and he just kept fouling it off. And like that's when I knew. I was like, damn, I literally have nothing else to throw this man. And I think I walked him, and I think he hit a ball off the wall, but we'll leave that for another time.
I feel like pitchers, like, they have a photographic memory of every single at bat they've ever thrown.
Close. I forget about a lot of them. Honestly, like I'll throw an inning, I'll come back to like, hey, what was the second pitch to the first guy? Like I have no idea. Like it's like kind of blacking out a little bit, but the ones are when people tag you or you punch them out. Like those are the ones I remember.
Yeah, for sure. Was there anyone in high school that you faced that was a big hitter coming up in the MLB?
Trent Grisham with the
Padres.
The Padres. I played against him.
You guys had the same agent.
Yep. So we've been friends kind of since I got drafted. And then the other one that was cool in high school was Lucan Baker, because he won the Gatorade Player of the Year before, and we played them like in round 5 of the playoffs or something. And I mean, he's just humongous. So pitching against him was pretty cool. Like back then, it was like everything.
Jesus, round 5 of the playoffs. Like, what is like a 9-year playoff?
We have 7 rounds. The championship round is the
what?
7th round.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Is that just in Texas?
I think so, because we would play up until the semifinals and finals. We would play either 1 or 3 game series. It was a coin flip, and then the coaches decided.
Okay. That's wild. I love how, like, they really stick to the Friday Night Lights of things and just coin flip it all in Texas.
Yeah, it's so wild. All right. Dream rotation. 5 guys.
Like if I'm the manager?
Yeah.
Or if I'm pitching?
You're the manager.
I'm the manager. I'm going to go with Randy Johnson, Clayton Kershaw, Nolan Ryan. I know I'm forgetting about Jacob deGrom, easy. And I'm trying to decide to go righty or lefty here. Let's go with CC Sabathia.
Yeah,
Prime
come
CC
on,
Sabathia.
bro. Yeah,
That's great.
you're a 6'7" lefty, bro. You got to give me a big lefty at the end of that.
I was about to say that's. I mean, I gave you the big unit.
Yeah, I know. I
6'10".
gun
As big as it gets.
Look, no. I gun to my head. Texas kid, big lefty. I knew you were going big unit. I knew you were going Kershaw 1-2. That was like no.
For sure.
Have you seen CC live before? Because I saw him live when I was younger, and he was standing next to a policeman in right field at Fenway Park, and he literally looked like the policeman's dad.
He's huge. And have you seen him now? Like he lost like all of his weight.
He's slimmed down.
He's jacked. Yeah, he's jacked. Now.
Is he ripped? That's hilarious.
He's huge.
You should go to the WWE. Just a hot take.
Yeah. I thought
Like,
it was funny. He got fat, or he was fat and then tried to lose weight and didn't pitch good, then got fat again, then was pitching good again.
That's wild.
it's all in the head.
I'm waiting on Bartolo, and in 10 years he's going to be shredded.
He'll come back. He's going to come back to the league at 67 years old and still throw sinkers, cutters, and four seams.
Ephysis.
Yeah.
Oh, CC is ripped.
You just looked him up?
Why did I not realize this? I feel ashamed that I missed this.
He's
So
jacked.
Bro, oh my God.
All right. So what's your guilty pleasure TV show?
Guilty pleasure TV show. You know, this is a funny one. I just started watching it. Joe Millionaire.
Oh God.
I mean, that's the guiltiest one, dude. I mean,
that's so funny.
I was actually in on The Bachelor for up until probably 2018. The last couple seasons sucked, but this one's good because it's just like, I mean, it's just so trashy that it's funny.
Yeah. It's almost like Love Island at this point now.
Kid from my town was on it. Embarrassing.
Really?
Yeah, he was a loser on it.
Dude,
Yeah.
seems like all of your the guys up from your town and your high school are just reality stars.
Yeah.
American Idol,
Yeah.
Bachelor.
American Idol.
Yeah.
But
We'll be on Top Chef. So
we know someone that was on it. Monica Axelman. Was she on it for a while? I never watched. Dude, do you know who that is? On Joe
don't.
Millionaire?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, man, I binge watched all four, so I still don't know everybody's names.
She was the one that was the Olympic fencer.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
She went home early.
Oh, bummer.
Spoiler alert.
There you go. What? Wait. One. Let me just throw one quick hitter in there, Nick. Kyle, what's You're an amateur chef. Is that self-proclaimed?
Self-proclaimed amateur chef.
Okay.
What's the go-to meal?
So I like ground meat because it's easier to cook, and so I have this.
I did some ground chicken today.
Dude, you have like it's like I guess it's like a meat masher. It's like instead of crushing them like spreading it out with a spatula, it's like a little star,
Okay.
and it speeds up the separation of the ground meat like 10 times.
Hopefully you can do
It's phenomenal. That's the best. You get it on Amazon for like $6. Best investment you'll ever make.
Good to know. Ground
I'm in.
meat. The emphasis on
But-
the amateur part of chef, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, no, but I mean, I can cook some good stuff. It's just most of the time I just eat to eat,
Okay.
because I have to. It's not, but like if I need to whip up a nice meal, I got that too. That's in the bag.
Maybe life after baseball, starting a restaurant. Kyle Muller's ground meat.
I think that'd be cool. Everything comes in a bowl and you have to eat it with a spoon.
Kyle Muller's ground meat.
What's your favorite part about Atlanta?
Favorite? I like the history the team has. I mean, especially in that area too. Like, there's not a lot of major league teams, so like, there's so many states. They call it Braves country, but there's so many states that are all Atlanta fans because they were like one of the first teams on TV.
Mhm.
And then they every year, if there's a couple good pitchers that are hot, they compare them to Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz, and
Yeah.
so it's just cool because you can tell that like baseball means a lot to all the people out there, all the fans, and like the fan base is unbelievable. And like, but there are some other places like the Marlins. They don't really have a strong baseball fan base. You know what I mean? So it's cool to play for a city that really, really cares about it.
Yeah, their fan base stinks on ice. Don't sugarcoat it. Not
What's
good.
that?
The Marlins, not the Braves.
No. The Braves fan base is epic. Braves,
Yeah, it's awesome.
yeah, it's an unbelievable fan base. Like a lot of the historic franchises have great ones. Marlins,
Yeah.
I really think they'll get there though. I think they'll figure it out. They'll get a couple good guys, and then they'll use the Miami aspect of it to just like boost them up.
The problem is, I feel like everybody in Miami is there to party, not go to a Marlins
Exactly.
game.
They rather go to a Pitbull concert. It's just
Yeah,
305.
or I think there's all the nightclubs or the beaches. It's like there's so many other things to do than go watch baseball.
Oh yeah, don't get it twisted. Miami is sick.
Yeah, no, I've never been. I'm excited to go.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
You go.
I got cool. We ask all our guests this same question. Everyone's gotten it. It could be from you playing, it could be from you watching, anything. What's your favorite sports memory ever?
It's got to be my major league debut. It was cool because Ian was pitching and he had a long first inning, and he's about 30 pitches in the first, and they were like, "Hey, like, go get hot. You're not gonna have a lot of time." Like, and we're playing the Red Sox, and this is at the beginning of the year when the Red Sox were like the best team. And so I was like, "Hell yeah, like, let's go!" And that was the first time I'd come out of the pen since the fall league in like 2018. So I was like, just ripping the ball in the pen. They were like, "Okay, like, you're good," because he got out of it. And then I go in the fifth. I get to face the 3, 4, 5. So it was JD Martinez, Xander Bogaerts, and
Renfroe. Maybe was it Renfroe? Or he's in sixth.
I don't know if it was Renfroe or wasn't. I faced Devers. I mean, I faced everyone. I feel like I gave up 2 runs, but it was still really cool.
Faced everyone. Yeah, I mean that's that's first of all, that's amazing, and that's a scary lineup to go up against your first time. But like, talk about like
Memorable.
the most
Yeah,
epic.
welcome to the bigs, huh?
Dude, and I knew it 'cause
Epic.
I first pitch was a ball. Then this next 2, I got JD Martinez to swing and miss twice on 2 sliders, and I was like, I'm just gonna try and blow a heater by him. Like, I'm gonna see if this works. And dude, it was the smoothest, easiest swing. It was like he was hitting batting practice. And I threw it was 97. He just turned it right around into left field, and I was like that was my like welcome to the show moment. I'm like, that doesn't work.
Did you say if that was at Fenway or is that in Atlanta?
That was in Atlanta. So
Okay,
there was like a full stadium. It was just when it got dark too. It was freaking awesome. Like, I couldn't feel my feet.
Wow. I mean, like, JD's
that's cool.
swing is like it's just like that one-handed, like effortless, like almost like he lunges out to get it. It's every time he does it, I'm always surprised that he puts the ball in the bleachers ever, because it seems like he swings in like slow motion and so easy. It's weird.
Yeah, it sucks being on the receiving end of it, but it's still pretty cool.
Josh, before we let him go, do you want to ask him the question that you and I argue about all the time?
Ooh, there's a lot of that doesn't really narrow it down.
The baseball one that your dad has no confidence that I can do.
Oh yeah, 100% would love to ask him this. Nick thinks in 100 tries. Nick's a really good baseball player. Nick's a walk-on wide receiver at Texas. Not a bad athlete by any means. Really legit athlete. Nick thinks in 100 at bats, he's putting the ball in play against a major league pitcher. I say he doesn't have a prayer.
In play, at bats, not
In
pitches.
play, you just have to put it.
Yes.
You just have to put it inside.
No bunting.
Who are you facing?
100
Anybody.
pitches. 100 pitches. Sorry, not at bats. 100 pitches.
100 pitches. Are they all strikes?
I thought you said at bats, but yeah, pitches too.
Pitches at bats, whatever. I don't even
They can
care.
throw whatever they want
If
at
it's
me.
100 at bats, he's gonna put the ball in play eventually. 100 pitch. If you face Jacob deGrom for 100 pitches, I don't know about that.
We always say Araldis because Araldis just throws the gas, but at the same time, like Araldis isn't as dynamic.
I would
as
rather.
DeGrom.
Yeah, that's. Have you seen his splitter?
Not up close and personal.
No.
Dude, it's like a knuckleball that's like 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I don't know. But DeGrom, like he knows where it's going. You know what I mean? He doesn't ever just fling one to the backstop. Like Aroldis Chapman, that'll be a more uncomfortable at bat. I feel like.
So scary.
Like I got to hit against DeGrom this past year.
Okay.
And it was like weirdly comfortable. Not in a good way, but like his delivery is so smooth, and he knows exactly where it's going. But like the herky jerky like deliveries where there's so many moving parts, those are the ones that are not fun. But his, it's like everything flows so smooth. It's just you blink and it's there.
Yeah.
It's like a machine.
He's literally got like a whip on his arm.
It's insane.
It's pretty unbelievable. I'm trying to look up who batted for the Sox. The lineup that day was Marwin Gonzalez 1, Verdugo, Martinez. But it was Martinez, Bogaerts, Devers the 5. By the way,
got it. Yep. So those 3.
So to be clear, you depending on who it is, yes, but depending on who it is, also no.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean,
I'll take that.
If you face, I don't want to say anybody's average, but you know what I mean. Like if you face a guy that doesn't have Jacob deGrom like stuff, I think you put him in play.
Cool.
I mean, I think you could.
Well,
because you said he's athletic, correct?
Yeah. No, he's great.
Yeah.
Great athlete. Like on the
No, if
beach.
you take somebody that's just
dominates.
not a good athlete, like no
Me?
chance.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm realistic, bro. Like I know I'm stepping in there. I know I'm getting brushed off the plate, going back. I'm a dugout guy. I'm not a batter. I'm in the dugout. I'm chewing gum, putting bubble tape around the dip, around the red man. I got my hat.
Sunflower seeds.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a dugout boy. I know that through and through. Nick, I appreciate, like your chutzpah in this, and maybe you should have Kyle as your friend instead of me. But I still think that you don't have a prayer. But Kyle, man, thank you for joining us. Hopefully we'll check back in with you again during the season. Go kick some ass, dude. Have a blast.
I appreciate it.
Pleasure having you on, man. And you know what? Hook 'em horns. We got you for sure.
There we go.
I love it.
Catch you later, brother.